let's talk about maybe a different company that had some issues back in 1992. Let's talk about Starrcade 1992. Of course, it is a Battle Bowl Lethal Lottery 2, December 28th, 1992, Atlanta, Georgia, at the Omni. 8,000 people in attendance. The tagline: the ultimate challenge of skill, luck, and survival. Only one man can survive. Pay per view buys only 95,000, down 60,000 from the year before. The year before was 155K. So Bill Watts takes over here, and the pay per view is just not looking good as far as financially, right? I mean, 95,000 down from 155. That can't be a good sign.
No, I think Bill's looking for getting fired as quick as possible.
What did you think about Watts in WCW? I know you're gone at this point, but what did you think about him? Because it just seems like some things are good and on paper it could be a success, but it seems like business wise are not a success for him.
If it's not his ball game, and it's very hard for him to work with a company.
When you look at Watts, did you get along with him or did you not get along with him?
I got along with him. Yeah.
Is he a corporate type?
No.
Do you think that's what like kind of led to his
Yeah.
downfall, or what do you think led to his downfall?
That it wasn't a corporate type.
Do you think that all that stuff that was said about him and what went down with him, do you find that all to be accurate? Or you think like I don't know about that?
Well, when I heard about him being off the roof, off his office, it didn't happen right away. But as soon as I heard about Henry Aaron, he was gone. Right?
Yep, pretty much. Yep, and supposedly carrying the gun around. That was a part of it too. He's carrying a gun with him.
Well, they don't go for that.
Can't do that in a corporate environment, right?
No.
So as far as Starrcade 92 is concerned, Battle Bowl, this is the second ever Lethal Lottery Battle Bowl tournament. Randomly, tag teams will be paired together for a spot in the Battle Royal. So you win the tag match, you get into the Battle Royal at the end, aka the Battle Bowl, and that'll be the end of the night. So previous Starrcade, there was more guys. This year, it's only a 16-man tournament with 8 finalists in the single Battle Royal. So there won't be the 2 rings. It's just going to be the 1 ring here. Also, Ron Simmons will be defending his WCW World Heavyweight Championship, and Sting and Vader will face off in the King of Cable tournament final. This will actually technically be the last pay per view for Jim Ross, too, who would leave for WWF shortly thereafter. That is a surprise that Ross leaves for WWF with Bill Watts still in power.
Yeah. But I think he knew Bill was going to be gone soon.
And as they're interviewing candidates to take over for Bill Watts, Jim Ross is interviewed and they didn't hire him. Do you think because they were thinking he was too close with Watts, too like closely aligned, they didn't want that?
Yeah, I think so.
Different philosophies, though, I would think. But obviously, he learned from him. That's his mentor. But I would think different philosophies, right?
Much different, but I think that they think, well, there's only one way to do it, and they all learn the same way. It's not true.
Did you ever go for like that position, or think about going for that position?
No. No.
Tony Schiavone also went for that position as
Yes,
well
I know.
and didn't get it.
That surprised me.
Really? Why?
He'd been there the longest, just about. I thought he'd get it. Smart guy. Thought he'd get it.
So Bill Shaw wanted a fresh face, somebody new. He did want to keep Shivani around, but he felt like he needed like a new face, a new leader, somebody that wasn't the old wrestling guy, some guy that wasn't around as much. So eventually, obviously, the hire is Eric Bischoff. Did that surprise you?
Yeah, very much. Because Eric was third string when he came in, interviewer. And then he ends up with the job. Good job, Eric.
And he obviously was the fresh face they needed and shook things up and changed the business. Because you say what you want about Bischoff, but without him, there's no big change in the business. Hogan's probably maybe doesn't go over to WCW, the NWO doesn't get created. Then there's no Attitude Era. I mean, if you realize, all the way back in '93, the dominoes fall in the right way, and you get what you get in the Monday Night Wars. Because without that, and without hiring Bishop to begin with, you're not going to get all those dominoes falling.
Yeah, he had them all fall into place too.
So last year, as we know, Sting won the first Battle Bowl at Starrcade '91. It guaranteed him a title shot. This year, a little bit different. You're not really guaranteed a title shot. You're just basically, the winner of Battle Bowl. You like that though? Do you think that there should be some stakes involved with this?
Yeah, I think there should be some stakes. Just wrestling for uh, a tournament for nothing, to me, brings nothing out of it. What do you think?
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, so what are we doing this for here? Just for fun. I know the original Royal Rumbles were kind of like that as well. It was just kind of more of a spectacle than anything else. But at this point, you kind of, and especially because last year Sting got a title shot out of it, you think that there should be some stakes involved.
Absolutely.
So, so before we get to the card, Rick Rude is supposed to fight Ron Simmons for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship, but Rick Rude is injured prior to the show and off the show. So, I mean, when you get news like that, basically your main event guy is going to be hurt before the show. That can't be good, right? I mean, you're kind of snake bitten a little bit.
No, it can't be good. It's going to be a disaster at that moment when they tell you that.
So he will be replaced by Dr. Death Steve Williams, who, of course, is Bill Watts' boy, right? I mean, he loves Dr. Death.
Yep.
And this King of Cable tournament where Sting and Vader are in the finals, this match obviously is the end of the tournament. It was an 8-man tournament conducted through the weeks of TBS television, but it's the 20th anniversary of wrestling on TBS. That's what the King of Cable tournament means. So you like that? Like a little bit of an homage to 20 years on TBS?
Yeah, I do. Very much. Very much.
So what's going to happen here is we'll start off with a dark match. Brad Armstrong defeats Shanghai Pierce in 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Just kind of a nothing dark match here. Of course, Shanghai Pierce is Mark Canterbury under the hood, so nothing here other than just a dark match to start the show. But I wanted to mention that and put that out there. I know you're a big Brad Armstrong fan.
Yeah. The best worker in the Armstrong family. He was unreal.
Do you think that they should have done more with
Or
Brad? More with
he
Brad.
just couldn't talk. Couldn't talk.
And it's funny, Dr. Tom, my buddy, talked to him all the time. He was saying Brad Armstrong behind the scenes is like a great talker.
The
But just when you
greatest
put
of all times.
but when you put the lights on him, he wouldn't bring that personality on stage.
No, he'd clamor up.
Man, it's crazy. Because you could see, man, what a worker. Oof. And anytime you want a good match, it's like, wow, Brad Armstrong could work with anybody. This guy's awesome.
Yeah, he could have been a great cruiserweight champion. You know, he had so much potential.
Now, just to mention this, Rick Rude was at the event. He appeared very distraught. He's very pissed off. He wanted to challenge for the title. He couldn't challenge for the title. And he was even more upset that WCW decided to strip him the United States Championship because he couldn't defend the belt within basically the 30-day time frame, which I know is always kind of made up and whatever. So he couldn't defend the time frame. They put the title up in a tournament. Dustin Rhodes wins that tournament. When Rude returns, he would actually feud with Dustin over the title. So it's funny, Rude doesn't really get another title shot till Fall Brawl '93 War Games, which is eight months down the road. So Rude's injury here definitely hurts him and hurt his push.
Yeah, it definitely hurt him. I mean, Dusty was trying to make Dustin an exact copy of himself.
Dustin, what a hand! What a great work. We're talking about him in a minute. When you're a booker, right, and a guy gets hurt like that, does he just move to the back of the line like they did with Rude, where they kind of just put him off to the side? Yes, he does do great things in '93, and he does have some great feuds and great matches. But does that happen where you just kind of push them off to the side and they don't end up going back to the front of the line? They almost, when they come back from injury, go to the back of the line.
No, you have to have them in front of the line, getting them ready, or you wasted all that TV time.
But do you think that an injury should hurt the guy though? Should it make him go
No,
back down, or it just you get hurt, you get put right back into the fray?
no. Did Tom Brady hurt his when he played Pittsburgh? The Jets, rather, when they put in Bledsoe.
Oh yeah, against the Steelers, yeah, and Bledsoe won the game, and then they put Brady right back in the next game. Yeah, yep.
So who do you go with the guy that you win with?
Not like a Wally Pipp scenario here, where Garrett goes in and you never play Wally Pipp ever again.
Yeah.
So obviously the tournament starts, like, if you will, the lethal lottery tag matches, random pairings here. Van Hammer and Dan Spivey defeated Johnny B. Bad and Cactus Jack. Okay, match went about 7 minutes long. Are you surprised that Spivey and Van Hammer, of all people, are getting a big victory over Cactus Jack and Johnny B. Bad?
I'm surprised. Not that Spivey got the win, but Van Hammer had just started. I was surprised that they put them two together.
Did you like Van Hammer? Did you see anything in him? What did you think about Van Hammer?
When I got there, he had been working about 6 months. He needed another 6.
I like Van Hammer just because of his look, and the gimmick is kind of funny. He's doing the rock and roll gimmick. But really, I mean, I can really only think of him versus Cactus Jack being a match that stands out for me that I really liked from Hammer. I mean, I don't really think he was anything to really have that length of time in WCW. Was crazy, just based on his look, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, he was still there in the late '90s.
Yeah, I know.
Into 2000, he's still there. Crazy. So then the next match is Big Van Vader teaming up with Dustin Rhodes. Obviously, these are just done at random, just random pairings here. Vader and Dustin defeated Kensuke Sasaki and the Barbarian in 7 minutes. Obviously, you got to have Vader and Dustin Rhodes go on to the next round, right?
Right.
And some of these guys will be doing double duty. Not all of them, but some of these guys will be doing 2 matches tonight. Just to throw that out there as well. Then the next match up, the Great Muta and Barry Windham defeated Brian Pillman and Two Cold Scorpio in 7 minutes. So basically, all these matches so far are just about 7 minutes. Muta and Windham get the victory over Pillman and Scorpio. Really good match here between these, this random tag match.
Well, they got a lot of good workers in there.
Ton. And obviously, they're bringing in a lot of guys from Japan for this as well. So it's always said that Watts didn't always have a great relationship with New Japan Pro Wrestling in that office, and Bischoff kind of had to mend the fences. But you do have Muda and Sasaki and Chono all on this card.
Yeah.
So then we have Dr. Death, Steve Williams, and Sting defeating Jushin Thunder Liger, another Japanese guy from New Japan Pro Wrestling, and Eric Watts in 9 minutes. Okay, match here. But I mean, you got to have Sting, right? You got to have him go over and head towards the finals.
Yeah.
Then we have the NWA World Heavyweight title match. Masahiro Chono, who is the NWA champion, defeated the Great Muta by submission in about 13 minutes. Shockingly here, not as good of a match as you would think from these two, and I've seen these two have great matches against each other. For some reason, I don't know why. Maybe the crowd, the heat, not that great, but just not that great of a match for these two.
Probably the crowd not really knowing the guys.
And here in '92, obviously, they're not as smart of a crowd as they are, many years later, with a lot of the Japanese tapes and a lot of the stuff you could just stream it. Or YouTube it. It's so much more accessible. They're a lot more popular now than I would say than here, even though Muta is pretty popular.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Are you surprised that Chono was the NWA World Champion at this point?
No, because he was the head of his company.
And are they really trying to get a better relationship with New Japan? Say, hey, we have one of your guys as the NWA World Champ.
Yeah.
So then we have Ron Simmons defending the WCW World Heavyweight Championship against Dr. Death, Steve Williams. Ron Simmons wins via disqualification. The match goes 15 minutes. Pretty good match here. I mean, nothing too great or nothing that stands out. But what do you think of Big Ron defeating Dr. Death? But basically a fill-in guy for Rude by DQ, not getting a straight up win.
I love Ron's work. I think he's fabulous. I love Doc's work. You have to go with the WCW champion. That's my opinion.
When Ron Simmons wins the title, this is months earlier, August in Baltimore, Maryland, beating Vader. Is that a shocker? He beats him on a house show. Were you surprised by that? Like when you're just even from an onlooker that Simmons won the WCW World title over Vader?
Over Vader, yeah.
The first ever black champion, the first ever African American world champion.
Yeah.
History, big time history for Ron Simmons.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to note in Baltimore, 2 days after Starrcade, Vader wins the title back and he defeats Ron Simmons. What do you think? Like, should have Simmons had a longer title? I know it's about a 4-month reign, but do you think he should have?
Absolutely.
Do you know anything about why it wasn't a longer title run?
No.
Do you know anything about why he beat Vader to begin with? Like, it's Vader had just beaten Sting 2 months earlier. So do you know why Vader had such a short run?
I wasn't there when Watts was there at all.
Oh, okay. Because Vader would then defeat Simmons 2 days later, and then he would basically hold the title for on and off almost about a year. So, I mean, he kind of was the WWE champion for a very long time after that. So he got his reign, but it felt like Simmons never really got a real long reign with the title.
Yeah.
Do you think that they kind of were blaming him for maybe a low pay-per-view buy, or do you don't buy that because this is such a weird gimmick pay-per-view?
No. This was just Bill's booking. He liked real big guys.
Next up, the WCW and NWA World Tag Team Championship match. Shane Douglas and Ricky Steamboat retained the tag titles, and they defeated Barry Windham and Brian Pillman in 20 minutes. Really, really good match here. Probably what you'd expect from those four, right?
Yeah. So they had some unbelievable matches. And Shane and Steamboat were a great team. It's too bad they didn't stay together longer.
Yes, Shane ends up leaving, right? And then they kind of have to do the Dos Hombres thing and lose under the masks and do about it that way. So yeah, it's a really interesting time for Shane. Like he should have gotten a big push, right? It just seemed like he could have been like the next guy for WCW at one point.
Yeah, yeah,
And when you look at him and Steamboat, man, you're right. They had so many good matches, so many good tag matches. Probably not a better guy for Shane to like go under the learning tree and learn from than Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
exactly.
Do you think that Shane maybe a little bit didn't play the game politically? You know what I mean? Was that
Yeah,
always kind of a problem with Shane?
yeah, he went behind the committee's back to Barnett, and Barnett came right to the committee.
What did he say?
He didn't want to lose.
Oh, to Cornette? Is that what it was?
Yeah, you remember that one?
Yeah, he didn't want to lose to Cornette on TV. Yep.
Yeah.
You think he should just play the game and just do what you're told, or do you think he was right in doing that?
It depends. I mean, I think they want to see if he plays the game.
Is that one of the things that they always do in the business? See if the guy will play
Yeah,
ball.
yeah. They
And
want to
once he,
see if you want to be a working man for that company.
right, and obviously Shane didn't play ball, and kind of not got him in too much heat, but it definitely got him a little bit of heat, right? I mean, obviously him and Flair never really got along after that. I know Shane has his version and Rick has theirs, but it seems like that was a big point of contention with him and Flair when that happened.
Well, I don't think that Ric Flair would have ever wrestled in a bingo hall.
Me neither. I can't believe people actually believe that Heyman was telling the truth there. I mean, obviously he's bullshitting.
I can't believe that people believe that we would allow Ric Flair to wrestle in that bingo hall.
Yeah, definitely not. Hey, but
So,
Shane believed it. But obviously, him and Steamboat here in late '92 retain the tag titles. Go out of your way to watch that match. Anybody out there that wants to see a great match, Steamboat and Shane defeating Wyndham and Brian Pillman. Next up, the King of Cable tournament final. Just to quickly go through the King of Cable tournament bracket, Vader defeated Tony Atlas in the first round. Dustin Rhodes defeated Barbarian in the first round of the quarterfinals. Rick Rude defeated Barry Windham, and Sting defeated Brian Pillman. The next round up, Vader defeated Dustin Rhodes in the semis, and then Sting defeated Rick Rude, and then thus we are here in the finals for the King of Cable. Sting defeated Big Van Vader with Harley Race to win the King of Cable tournament. The match went about 17 minutes. Another match. I would say this is probably the match of the night, probably the best match of the card.
uh,
Awesome chemistry between these two. They're always great together. Sting gets the win. What do you think about Sting and Big Van Vader?
they always do well together. So it ended up being a good show.
And then we got one match left here. We've got the Battle Bowl 2, which is, of course, all the winners from the tag match come in later here tonight, and they enter the Battle Bowl, which is a big battle royal. Van Hammer, Dan Spivey, Big Van Vader, Dustin Rhodes, The Great Muta, Barry Windham, Dr. Steve Williams, and Sting. They're all in there. And, of course, the winner is The Great Muta, who wins by last eliminating Barry Windham in 14 minutes. Okay, match here. Nothing bad, nothing really to write home about either, but that's the end. Great Muta gets the win. Are you shocked by that?
No.
Why do you think Muta goes over here?
Because Muta's going to start coming over quite a bit.
Yeah, they do use him a bunch in 93. Well, really, I mean, they use him a lot in many years in the 90s, but he does come over a lot in 1993. He'll be the NWA champion eventually. He'll start a feud with Barry Windham. So he's probably a good choice there. But do you think ending the show with him winning and not reversing it and having Sting win the King of Cable tournament?
No,
Do you think?
Sting should have won at the end, but For some reason, they did it that way, and I have no idea because, like you just said, it should have been the other way around.
Yeah, and it didn't quite get that. I mean, I don't mind it, and I like Muda, but I just thought like, wow, that's your big guy, Sting, and I know it's the king of cable, but that could have been last. I think.
Yeah,
When you look at it overall, what do you think about the pay per view, and what do you think about the concept? Do you like Lethal Lottery, the random teams, and then they
yeah,
face off later? You like it?
yeah. I give it a thumbs up. I enjoyed it.
Feel like if you really want to go back and watch the show, Muda and Wyndham versus Pillman and Scorpio is good, and then Shane and Steamboat versus Wyndham and Pillman is also good. Plus Sting versus Vader is match of the night. Definitely go back and watch that. I feel like there's some good content on this card. I don't know if the Lethal Lottery is quite a draw because there's only 95,000 pay per view buyers here, but decent concept with maybe not great execution at the end, but definitely if you want to go out of your way to watch Sting versus Vader. And like I mentioned too, Vader will win back the WCW championship 2 days later over Simmons. So that would be the end of Simmons' run, and he'd never be a world champion ever again. Kind of a shame
Yeah,
in some respects.
yeah.
All right, so let's hit the plugs. Let's go for the wind down here. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Two Man Power Trip. Check the website tmptempire.com. Kevin, what do you got going on in this crazy world?
I'm going to take a couple of weeks off. I got hurt, and so I'm going to stay at home, rest up, enjoy myself.
Are you okay? I mean, is everything?
Yeah, I cracked the rib.
Oh, damn! Wrestling? Were you wrestling?
No,
Oh,
no.
those
I
days
had
are over.
4 puppies running around my feet. I fell on a teak piece of teak that was sticking straight up.
Oh no! Damn.
Yeah.
Have you ever broken a rib before
Oh yeah.
in wrestling?
Yeah.
Oh, what happened?
You tape it up and it heals.
No, but how'd you get hurt? Was it Mark Lewin's fault? Who hurt?
Oh. The first time was amateur wrestling, and then uh, I think the next time was blackjack, and then Barry. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Guess par for the course with being a wrestler, I guess, right? I mean, the injuries do happen; they do come.
They sure do.
But thank you, everybody out there, for listening. Thank you, Kevin. See you right back here next time.